morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today we've got some really good, really exciting, and I'm going to be honest with you, slightly confusing news that we need to have a little bit of a chat about. And I tell you this every time, but let me say this nice and clearly now as we get rolling. We have got listings on PlayAsia for some very exciting products. All we have right now is some listings on PlayAsia for some very exciting products. We don't have product images or descriptions or anything like that. What we do have is a gigantic TCG nerd, that's me, who's been around Pokemon for over 15 years at this point, who has been here and seen a lot and can make, hopefully, some pretty sensible suggestions. So with that borne in mind, what has gone and been revealed? Well, we've got the easier to understand and the harder to understand. Easy to understand, Scarlet and Violet Collection File Set N, Scarlet and Violet Collection File Set Lily. Oh, nice. Oh, there's also a listing for Terrestrial Festival. That's a high-class pack coming at the end of the year. We've talked about this. So N and Lily are essentially coming back. Are they going to be in the same form as before? I don't know. Do we need N back right now? Arguably not. But people kind of love it. And as for Lily, I mean, Lily is a decent card. Draw 2, you've got 6 cards in your hand, but if it's your first turn, draw 2, you've got 8. But then we've also got Lily's Full Force, which draws 4, and then if you've got 3 or more in your hand at the end of your turn, you shuffle 2 into your deck. Not quite so good. Lily's Pokédoll was a fun card. Maybe it's something along those lines. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Blocking of a 30 HP Pokemon that doesn't give up a prize? Seems kind of fun. Something along those lines could well be it. And let's face it, even if it's not a reprint of those cards, even if it's just a new Lily and a new N, yeah, people are going to love this. And just to be clear, yes, this does mean we're getting a new Lily and a new N. We see this all the time, constantly for the Pokemon TCG. For instance, recent products include Lacey products. And oh look, there's a Lacey card in the new set. No ifs, buts or maybes here. We are getting Lacey. And actually, while we're here, if we're getting Lily and N, and we are, alright? If we're getting peripheral products featuring them, we're getting them. I am 100% convinced about that. There's going to be a full art, and there's almost certainly going to be a special illustration rare. If a character is getting these peripheral goods, these accessories, you can expect there to be a special illustration rare. That's pretty standard. Oh my word. Cassiopeia was in the previous set. Got some merch. And oh look, would you believe it? There was a special illustration rare Cassiopeia. I think I've shown my working well enough at this point. My point is, this is exciting. These are good characters. Maybe we'll get a reprint of N, which is one of the best cards we've ever had in terms of supporter cards. Maybe we won't. But we're getting some kind of Lily. We're getting some kind of N. And that is going to mean full art supporters. And it's almost certainly going to mean special illustration rare. And no, I don't think I'm extrapolating too far here. Because at the end of the day, we've seen this for years. I just showed you the examples of Lacey and Cassiopeia. When Pokemon release these peripheral goods, they tend to, well, no, they don't tend to, they always match cards that are in the set they're released alongside. So if we're getting N and Lily products, we're getting N and Lily cards, and from there, come on, the ones that get the products always get the special illustration rares, and they always get the full arts. So this seems like an absolute slam dunk prediction, doesn't seem to worry me too much. What else? Well, we've got 2 products that have been listed. Pokemon card game Scarlet and Violet Starter Set EX Stevens Beldum and Metagross EX. Pokemon card game Scarlet and Violet Starter Set EX, Marnie's Morpeko and Grimmsnarl EX. Now, that is what we know. That is the sum total of confirmed information. But now we're going to speculate because there are a few different things this could mean, and we really do need to talk about this. The most obvious thing here, owner's Pokemon. It's not Morpeko, it's Marnie's Morpeko. It's not Beldum, it's Stevens Beldum. Okay? So, owner's Pokemon 100% back. But we don't know what that really means. Like, we could go back to SP, for instance, and I'm not saying they're all going to be basic like SP cards were, I'm just using it as an example. But if we go to celebrations, which more people are going to be familiar with, we saw some SP Pokemon making a comeback, and that was Luxray and Garchomp. Now, they were level X's and basic Pokemon, don't worry about that. Worry about the fact that Garchomp was Garchomp C, Champions Pokemon Cynthia, and Luxray was Luxray GL, Gym Leader Volkner. Alright? Owner's Pokemon, and actually, now there was a VS series over in Japan years ago now. We never got it in English, it never came out in English. But you know what we had in there? Ross's Wailmer. Yeah, that's right. In the VS series over in Japan, there was a Ross card, an actual proper Ross Pokemon card. Got gifted it by a good friend many years ago. I actually found a copy sitting in a binder in a card shop in Nagoya when I went to Worlds last year. So I have 2 copies of this card. I am delighted. And the thing is, if we go back to SP, you know, the level X's, yeah, there's a mechanic in there. The fact that they're all basic, yeah, there's a mechanic in there. The fact that they're owners Pokemon actually meant nothing. We could go back to way back in the day here, and we could go back to the original owners Pokemon, the Gym series cards, right back in Gen 1. Before we even got Gen 2 in the game, we had Gym Leader Pokemon. Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge, they were the last 2 expansions before we moved on to Gen 2. And you know what? They basically meant nothing. I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean that as a kind of, that there was no like mechanic along those lines. We just had a bunch of gym Pokemon. And that was honestly kind of awesome. Like, I pulled Misty's Tentacruel. I went to a little shop in London, a Japan Centre bookstore, and they had Japanese packs, and I was a little nerd back then. Wasn't even that little, to be fair. I was a teenager. Lower end of teens, but still. And I bought a pack of these. And I got Misty's Tentacruel, and it was awesome. So, the point I'm making is, there may well be some mechanic for owners Pokemon, but owners Pokemon tend to be cool for collectors, rather than actually being some massive mechanic. Although we'd look at things like Team Magma's Groudon, for instance, if we go back to, you know, the beginning, you know, the very first ever World Championships, they were Team Magma's Pokemon, and there were a bunch of mechanics floating around from there. So, yes, there is that, but that's kind of like a team rather than specifically just owners Pokemon, if that makes sense. The thing that interests me is looking at the name of this set. Now, as some people have pointed out, and this is absolutely fair, if we go back to the very beginning of the Scarlet and Violet era, we had decks that were named very much like this. Like, for instance, the Fuecoco and Ampharos EX starter deck. That was one, and it was named like this. The naming convention was exactly like this. And you'll notice that it's a Fuecoco and an Ampharos EX. Here's the thing, though. If we look at the wording of these listings, it's not Stevens Beldam and Stevens Metagross EX. It's Stevens Beldam and Metagross EX. It's not Marnie's Morpeko and Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. It's Marnie's Morpeko and Grimmsnarl EX. Now, I am not saying Tag Team Pokemon are coming back. We do not have enough information to say that Tag Team Pokemon are coming back. But I am telling you that if these are owners Pokemon like we're suggesting, why is Steven's name not in front of both cards? Why is Marnie's name not in front of both cards? And I suggest to you that it's because it's one card. Not saying it is, but tell me that doesn't make sense. Why would it be Stevens Beldam but regular Metagross? Why would it be Marnie's Morpeko but regular Grimmsnarl? If they were separate cards like they were last time, like I just showed you, why would they not both be owners cards? Are owners cards only going to be for smaller Pokemon? Of course, I posted this to the lovely Antoine Boulet, and they informed me quite sensibly, maybe they're not owners Pokemon. Maybe it's just flavour. Maybe it is a Beldum and Metagross EX deck, and they've just put Steven on there to add a little bit of flavour to the deck. I don't believe that's the case, but again, it is sensible and it makes sense. So look, when it comes to Lily and N, sorted. We know what's going on. Easy. When it comes to these other products, there's a lot going on. Owner's Pokemon, absolutely a sensible prediction. Not confirmed. Like I just told you, it could be adding flavour. When it comes to the idea of tag team Pokemon coming back, not confirmed. But if they are Owner's Pokemon, I refuse to believe it's Steven's Beldum and not Steven's Metagross. Which means that if they are Owner's Pokemon, the only sensible suggestion to my mind is that it is a pair of cards. Is it going to be like tag teams were last time? Like the Mewtwo and Mew that won the World Championships? Maybe. Mewtwo and Mew and all these tag teams basically was just it was a pair of Pokemon on a card that gave up free prizes and was nuts. There were also some issues with things like Arceus and Dialga and Palkia, admittedly, maybe being a little bit too big, a little bit too good. But then again, were tag teams a problem? Were all tag teams a problem? I'm not sure they were. So maybe there is a way that we can actually deal with this in a way that doesn't break the game. Just putting that one out there. And I'm just saying, there is a lot here to think about. And I know there are a lot of people out there that want to tell you tag teams are coming back. Or they want to tell you that Owner's Pokemon are confirmed. And the answer is, both of those are absolutely possible. Tag team Pokemon might be coming back, and Owner's Pokemon might be coming. Both of those are sensible suggestions based on the information we currently have. But they are sensible suggestions, they are not confirmed, and honestly, we don't have enough information. Just from the name of this product, we cannot say definitively. Owner's Pokemon are absolutely hinted at, and tag team Pokemon are absolutely hinted at. The only thing I really want to stress at the end, like I've said, yes, we had decks like this before, but they were just regular Pokemon and saying this one and this one made perfect sense. Steven's Beldum and Metagross EX, Marnie's Morpeko and Grimmsnarl EX, that doesn't sit right with me. Or maybe there's some new mechanic where Owner's Pokemon are only the basics and the evolutions aren't. I don't know. But oh my word, it's going to be fun finding out. And I got to add something in here, because right as I was getting ready to upload this video, more news came down. Another listing went up on PlayAsia for a new expansion pack, a new booster pack, a new set, which we'd not heard of before, called Battle Partners. Now this is interesting, because this almost never happens. Generally, when new expansions are revealed or listed or teased or whatever, generally speaking, we've seen something somewhere, often a trademark, for instance, that we've seen filed and gone, oh, that's going to be for a TCG set. This comes completely out of left field, and I got to tell you, it tells us almost nothing more. Battle Partners, well, that would be a perfect name for a set, bringing in Owner's Pokemon, because the owner and the Pokemon are partners. And it would also be the perfect name for a set bringing back tag team Pokemon or a similar kind of mechanic, because of course the two Pokemon on one card would be partners. And the funny thing is, I think Battle Partners, or I don't know, I didn't, but had I seen this listing first, I think they would have been my top two choices. They would have been my two main predictions for what this set would be. So it's almost certainly a case here that these products are essentially alongside this new set, and this is the new mechanic. But is it Owner's Pokemon? Is it Tag Team? Is it something else I've not even thought of? I don't think so. I think it's Owners or Tag Team. Although if you want my prediction, I'm going to say this clearly now so we can come back later and say whether I was right or not. I think it's both. I think it is a similar kind of thing to tag teams with more than one Pokemon on one card. But I think they're also Owner's Pokemon. I think it is Steven's Beldum and Metagross as one card, and that makes me excited. But yeah, I couldn't exactly finish the video without adding this in, because this is quite a big new development, even though it doesn't actually really tell us anything else. Okay, back to the end of the video as I originally made it. And look, I'm just going to leave this as a little thought at the end of this video. You know how at Worlds every year, it used to be in the opening ceremony, now it tends to be in the closing ceremony. You know at Worlds every year, they make a big TCG announcement of some big new kind of card coming? Like Ace-Specs returning or EX is coming back? Yeah. I think I can put a time frame on when we're going to find this out. I think it's going to be the closing ceremony of Worlds. Or maybe the opening ceremony if they go back to that. But honestly, I don't want to have to run away after the opening ceremony of Worlds to go and make a video. So, can we do it in the closing ceremony again? That would be awesome. For now, I want to know what you think. I want to know your predictions. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Unknown One, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.